Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to OreAni, our 2021 summer lineup. Wow. I think it's been close to 10 years since we have started Anime Talk on this channel.
No, it's been that long?
Close to it, yes. Because I remember it was either 2011 that we started doing these, maybe 2012, but I know we're really close to 10 years. So I'm actually really excited. I know we met a lot of you further in later on in the years, and I'm actually really happy to have stayed friends with y'all, chat about anime when we can.
I think Communities came on in 2013, 2012. Not sure.
Yeah,
I have to
I
look
don't
it up.
remember when the main setup that we have going on started, but I know before that we just named ourselves Anime Talk, and we talked about the most random stuff.
Ah,
Like what is Shimapang mean? Uh, Zutayoiki, like what's the perfect ratio and stuff like that. We had so many just random questions all about the anime life, and now we're just discussing about the shows that are going to start. But with us today, we have our good pal Albert,
oh,
and we have Jessica with us.
Hello.
I'd like to send a call out to Vinny. He's always been with us. Nick, Cosmos. Hopefully you can join us sometime soon. We're missing you. Sean's not with us today, but he's always here with spirit. Um, let's go ahead and get started. And of course, I'm here all the time. I forgot my camera. So we're going to do things a little differently today. We're just going to go down the list of anime titles that we've collected for this season, and basically just take a vote or see if we want to discuss it. And if we do, then we'll talk about that title. And you also get to learn all the titles that are out there. So first up is the 100 Man no Inochi no Ue ni Ore wa Tateiru, second season, which is a long title. I think it came out last year. It's called I'm Standing on a Million Lives, and seems like none of us have been watching it. So we'll go past that. We'll go to the next one, Hokutachi no Remake, or Remake Our Lives. And none of us have seen that one either, even though it's got
nope.
an extended first episode of 60 minutes.
No interest.
Next up is Drugstore in Another World, The Slow Life of a Cheap Pharmacist. Seems that
Yeah.
Albert and I had tried it, but didn't get into it.
Yeah, so this is briefly, it's one of the, I think, 6 or 7 isekai shows. Although, upon watching the first episode, it's it's pretty much a slice of life in a fantasy world, and it feels like, at least in the first episode, the isekai tag is completely tacked on. They just mention, oh yeah, my former life, my name was, kind of thing. And it reads like, a guy that wanted to write a fantasy novel, but their editor is like, isekai, it's really popular right now. Just throw that in there and you'll have better success. That's what he did, but the rest of it seems like it's just about this guy that makes potions and other things that a old pharmacy or drugstore would carry, and that's it. And he's got a ghost girl and a little wolf girl that works with him, and that's about it. So yeah, it was kind of boring.
Yeah, not too exciting. They do kind of have it split up into different parts, and I think that's maybe because of how it's set up in the manga. Because I've read the manga actually, or at least some of it. I didn't get too much into it because I thought it was gonna be something cool and exciting, but nah, just everyday life. I guess that's why they call it the slow life, right? And but actually, what tipped me off from not maybe wanting to watch this was the wolf girl and her rue all the time. And but I don't know. I'm probably not going to continue this at all, even though I'm like a big isekai fan. This one just isn't going to do it for me. Jessica, was that just a hard no based on the picture when you saw it, or?
Truth be told, I don't remember what the picture looked like, but I read the synopsis and was just, yeah, not my cuppa.
All right.
And since you guys are not giving it glowing reviews, I stand by my decision to ignore it.
Moving
Next,
on.
say again?
Said moving on. Next.
Yeah, moving on. Next up is this D side. How do you say that? Trumere, the animation. I was actually hoping someone would have watched this because I'm mixed. I don't know if I want to watch it or not. I was hoping someone could tell me if I should or not. But it seems like none of us have seen that one, so.
Yeah, this one is based on a mobile game, if memory serves, and I tend to skip those because they don't tend to be that great.
Mhm.
But it is on Crunchyroll for those who might want to try to check it out, but I have no idea. I may check it out later on and see if it is worth it. At least the first episode, I was hoping someone else would have seen it, but unfortunately not. Next up is which is called Date
Got that.
Fibio
You have to go
de
yo.
Battle.
Yeah.
So this one I went into blind. I thought it looked pretty cool. I mean, it has this picture that made me think of or the title, or the what do you want to call that? Of Darwin's Game. Kind of made me think of that when I
I
saw it.
remember that one.
So when I saw that illustration, I'm like, hey, this looks similar to that. Let's see how similar it is. I put it in, and I'm actually somewhat enjoying it. It's not great by any means, but it's at least somewhat interesting. And the way it is it seems to be following this boy that loves games, and everyone knows that he loves games, and even there was like some gossip around him that was like talking about how he's always playing games, and but he's also very bright, so he's at the top of the class and stuff. But then he gets attacked out of the middle of nowhere, and he has no idea what's going on. But then he realizes that if he treats it as a game, he puts himself a goal, and he's able to think and to accomplish what needs to be done for him to reach that goal in a game setting. So he's able to defeat I guess the person or creature, I don't know how to explain him, that was after him, and then he ends up dying, or at least it looks like he died, and now he's in a room with a bunch of people told that they're part of an experiment, that they've all been deleted from the registry, that they no longer exist, so basically they're all dead, so there's no way they can get out of this. They all have these cuffs on their arms that lock their wrists together, and that basically they're going to be just, they've all been given a special power, and that they have to battle each other in these different scenarios. And it's just, it's a crazy premise, but I'm at least going to be willing to give it a few more episodes and continue watching it. It's only got 2 out so far, so we'll see how the third one goes. But overall, it's not too bad. I think it would be easily accepted by a lot of the people out there that like the shonen battles types anime. And so I'm probably going to maybe stick to this until they do something really outrageous. But it seems that why they call it the battle game in 5 seconds is that whenever they meet each other, all of a sudden this timer of 5 seconds starts, and they have 5 seconds to get ready to fight. Next up is, oh, this title. I always keep on forgetting about this title. Even as a light novel, I forget about it. It's hard to explain. Let me open this up. It's How a Realist Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom. It's a light novel that I started reading as a web novel, but then J-Novel picked it up and I started reading that. And it's about this guy who gets summoned into another world, another one of those, right? And but he's pretty plain and thinks very logically, and he realizes that he doesn't want to be put out in the front lines to battle the demons that have been summoned, and realizes that if he doesn't do something within this kingdom to help them gain funds to send, because I think the kingdom was given an ultimatum to send funds to help with the battle of the demons, or to summon a hero and send them the hero. So since he doesn't want to be in the front lines of the battling, he decides to help them raise the funds needed to prevent himself being sent over. And for some odd reason, the king sees all that he's been doing and decides to abdicate the throne to him and says, "You're now the king." And he's like, "What?" So, as the new king, which he always and constantly calling himself he's just holding the place of the king, and that he's going to help rebuild the kingdom, get it back on its feet, get it everyone happy, then he'll leave. That's what he's basically telling everyone. And as I said, I've read the light novel, and there's even a manga of it. And the manga does a pretty good job of staying with the light novel, but the anime has taken a different path with some of the choices it's done. But in general, it's still heading the exact same way with the exact same key points that need to be hit. So it's kind of fresh. So if you've read the book or anything like that, watching the anime is not just you going through everything once again. They've done some changes, they've moved things around. So it's kind of a fresh new take on how they're going through the story. So it's kind of okay on that point. And it's not doing anything totally outrageous. So I'm actually happy for that. But like I said, it's not a really big like shonen battle type of isekai series, and even the hero doesn't have a power that's like super overpowered. He's just able to, he calls it the living poltergeist, where he's able to control stuff within a certain radius of him, and it's not anything big, and he basically all uses it to control pens to write documents. So basically he does the work of 3 men instead of with his ability. So but it is somewhat interesting if you want to try to give it a shot. if you're looking for something a little more different from the typical shonen isekai. Next up, we have, what's this, Albert? Robo arc.
So Getter Robo. So Getter Robo, it's a really old franchise by Go Nagai of Devilman fame, and it falls in the super robot genre. But since its inception in the 60s, I think, maybe 60s or early 70s, it's had many iterations. The timeline's all messed up, and I don't even know where this actually falls in the official Getter Robo timeline. So checked out the first episode because it's Super Robot, and it's not very good. There's the animation was not that good. The CG was not that good. The storyline seems really muddled. Seems to follow another arc that I might have missed, another series that I might have missed. So I don't know where it's starting. And you know, it's shonen, hot-headed, hot-blooded young guy gets into Getter Robo to defend humanity storyline. We've seen it a million times and done a million times better, so I'm just skipping it.
So it's like, does this follow along the same lines or storylines as the other ones, or is it completely like a remake or?
It's not a remake. It's clearly a sequel because some of the characters in the previous ones have been mentioned, and the main character seems to be the son of one of the previous main characters. The professor is gone, Professor Saotome, and now the original pilot of number 2, which was Hayato, I think, is now running the research station. So and there's multiple Getter Robos, so who knows what the hell is going on. Just wasn't interested enough.
I see. So moving on. It looks like episode 13 of Cinderella 9 came out. And after that, we have.
That baseball or?
Yeah. I think, isn't that the one where it was like on Funimation that had that terrible animation?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Maybe. Where like the ball changed sizes and all that.
Yeah, I don't know. Next up is the Ida Ten Deities No Only Peace, which is on Crunchyroll.
Okay.
And looks like we're both watching it. I only picked it up yesterday. What is it? Only 2 episodes, right?
Only 2 episodes so far. Did you watch both?
Yes, I did watch both.
You joined us.
Hey, Benny, how you doing?
You might still be prepping on the spreadsheet.
Okay.
So Idaten, is interesting for me because I did not realize Noitamina was, still going. So Noitamina tends to have more original, more experimental animation in their block. The animation is by Mappa, who is, on a hot roll in terms of various anime series that they've done, but also in the news for horrible working conditions and pay. So yeah, the story revolves around, it's a world where 800 years ago, the demons that came out of somewhere and was plaguing humanity and causing massive destruction were defeated by the gods known as Idaten. And since then, sealed away, and 800 years of peace has ruled, and only a few gods, Idaten, appear to have, only one of the original was left to care for, and since then, new gods have appeared, but shenanigans start to happen when a military force uncovers a demon and tries to revive it. So it starts off there. It's interesting. It's based on a manga. The original author is the one that wrote Ishizoku Reviewers, now infamous, I guess. The series writer is really interesting to me because he has taken on, he has a really good track record. So I'm trying to see if adaptation is good. But the material is classified as kind of dark fantasy. And right at the end of episode 1, there is a scene that depicts, a certain act that rhymes with grape. And yeah, I'm not exactly sure where it's going with this. Although I did watch episode 2, and it does appear it has some things to say about people and their belief in gods and what it means. So, I mean, for now, I think I'll continue. The animation style is certainly interesting. The color palette is also very different. The director is someone I'm not familiar with, and he has only one directorial, as a full director credit to his name, although he has been doing episode direction for many, many different series since 2001, I believe. So check it out if you're interested, but the at the end of episode 1, if you're not feeling it, then you shouldn't continue.
I was really surprised by this show. I didn't know what to expect. I just saw that you had saw it, so that's why I decided to watch it last night. And I was like, oh, the cover art looks like it's gonna be something goofy, shonen type of show with a bunch of shenanigans. So I had no idea what I was getting into. And at the start of it, it seemed a straight show that I wouldn't have expected to be dark at all. It wasn't until the end that I was like, holy cow, what did I get myself into? And continuing on to the second episode, I realized that this is going to be
I mean, even before then.
Yeah, before then there's some sign, but it didn't really stand out to me like it's something really big.
So we'll see what happens in the end.
Yeah, but I was really surprised. Sorry, someone came in. But yeah, I was shocked, and I'm gonna probably continue watching it just to see where it ends up going. If it's just gonna keep on going down this dark path, or if they're gonna try to turn it around. But I think it's just gonna be staying dark the whole time. And
Yeah, I kind of feel that too. And I haven't read the manga. I don't know if actually, I think it's still ongoing. I don't know how they're going to wrap it up for the series. If you're into more seinen, topics or interests, or you're a fan of Mappa animation, check it out. If you don't care for any of those, then probably skip it.
yeah, but your comment on the Noitanima, actually, I remember when I saw that title thing as well. I was like, what? It's on Crunchyroll instead of I think it was typically on Amazon Prime back in the day that they aired those shows.
Mm.
So I was actually kind of shocked. And but one thing I do like is how simple the character designs and everything is. So it's not like I expect any quality to be affected in the rest of the show. So it seems pretty uniform and everything because of how simple a lot of the characters and everything is. I think I can at least enjoy it in that aspect because I do like some of the character and how they look. So next up, say hi to Vinny real quick. Hey, Vinny.
Hello.
So, I don't know if you filled the list, but we're just going down the list in
Yeah, I felt the
alphabetical order.
list. Haven't really watched many of anything this season, so keep going.
Alright, so if you look at the list, we're just going in alphabetical order, so we're on line 11 now, which is Jessica.
Yeah, with Higurashi no Nakukoro ni Sotsu. How familiar are you guys with the bonkers world of Higurashi?
I watched the entire first Higurashi. You know, all was it 24? No, plus episodes. I forget how many episodes there are, but yeah, I know the entire story. Although I have not watched like the subsequent sequels and side stories and all that.
It's anything I have to say, but that I'm really enjoying it. I love the craziness, and I can't wait to see where it goes. So that's pretty much all I have to say.
So my only question would be is, would you have to have watched anything else previous to this to be able to get into this, or can you
Yeah,
just start on this?
the the first that aired, was it in the fall? Um, that at first seemed to be like a one-to-one remake of the original anime. But then about midway through, we find out that no, it is not. And so it's not going to make much sense, unfortunately, for newcomers to the series if that's all they've seen. So if you're curious, I would recommend to play the visual novels or get your hands on a copy of the original anime, which is it's pretty good. I mean, it's Studio Dean, so the animation quality isn't that great, but I really do like the story. I think that'll keep you hooked. The game is available on Steam, and you can have the remastered version or the original version or what have you, and that should get you caught up to speed if you're in the mood for it. But it's definitely a lengthy time investment. So yeah.
I was going to mention that because you don't get to the heart of the mystery. You know something weird is going on within two
Mm-hmm.
episodes, but because the way the story is structured, the first core of the very first series is, things just keep happening and you have no idea why, right? It doesn't really get to the heart of the mystery until the second core, so it is a hefty time investment. And if you are not very good with things that happen to people that result in lots of blood, I would not recommend this series to you. It is a horror series. It is one of the few that is really well done, but be warned that it is a time investment. There's a lot of gore and death. It's a good series.
Thank you for mentioning the gore, Albert. I forgot that if you do not like blood and guts and seeing cute little girls chop each other up into just pools of muck,
I told you I was doing this.
This is not for you.
But we'll probably end
They get very violent and very explicit, and shall we say creative with the ways that people die.
We
So
started at 6.
massive trigger warnings
just one more
for
hour.
this type of thing. But yeah, I really like it, and but I totally understand why people do not. Because if you're the type of person that hates a mystery dangled in front of your face, then this is not the series for you.
All right. Let's go ahead and move on to the next title then. What's this? Idolish 7 third beat, so it looks like a third season. No one's watching that. Isekai Cheat Magician.
You're not watching this.
No, I don't think anyone's watching this, right?
Mm-mm.
I think this is actually just supposed to be the third episode to these series that came out earlier. Or 13th episode, not third episode, 13th. Jashi-sama wa Kuja Kanai. Did I say that right?
Hasn't aired yet.
Yeah, so that one hasn't aired yet, but it looks like it'll be airing in 5 days. So uh, I'm kind of looking forward to it. So let's see what happens afterwards. After that is, what is this? Kageki Shoujo?
Oh, Tank, this is made for you.
What?
You have to watch this one. It's all about theater.
Really?
Yeah, dude.
Wait, what is it on? Oh, Funimation?
Funimation, yes.
So, Silla to me. Let's see if I want to watch it.
You mean I didn't have you at theater? All right. So this anime is based on a manga about a Takarazuka adjacent theater troupe. Um, it's a school that's very difficult to get into. For those of you who don't know, Takarazuka is an all-female theater group that started in the 60s. Albert, do you know?
Yeah, pretty early. It might have been even earlier. Let me look it up while you keep
Okay.
going.
But anyway, it centers on a young girl who is really uncomfortable around men. She's a former idol, and she's looking to get into this school because it's a way that she can isolate herself from men in general, because the fans of this show tend to be mostly female too. And so she's just throwing herself into this school as a way to escape. And she gets assigned a roommate, a young girl who is extremely tall and is the typical protagonist that one would see about how I love theater and I want to be the best at theater, and is outgoing and bubbly and whatnot. And the story would have really worn on me fast if she was the protagonist, but she is not. And so our heroine is trying to come to grips with the fact that he and this other girl are like oil and water, they don't mix. And so with the first probably 2 episodes, you think it's just going to be about school life and the trials and tribulations with the acting and the politics with the other girls and stuff. But then episode 3 comes out, and holy cow, it goes places. I don't know if you guys want me to say anything about it. I do feel that it's important, though, to give a trigger warning about, I guess, sexual assault, you call it, in episode 3. But it's handled deftly and with a lot of concern and tact. So I would still recommend this as being a super good show, and you gotta watch it, Tank. You have to.
Alright. I'm definitely going to watch this. I do have one question. Is it really just only going to be focused on her being in this, trying to be in this theater? Or is it also trying to show that they're trying to help her get used to men?
I think it's gonna do both. I haven't read the manga, and I've only seen up to episode 3 because that's all that's been out. But I believe that it's gonna pursue that angle. And I think that it's kind of that healing hands trope with the other girl is gonna try and bring our protagonist out of her shell and realize that she can enjoy life. She doesn't have to be afraid all the time. But we shall see.
Alright. I'm definitely going to check this one out.
So I looked it up. Takarazuka was formed in 1913.
Holy moly! Okay.
Yeah, so they've been in existence for over a century.
Crazy.
Yeah. It checked out the first 2 episodes. I know that the manga, I'm not sure if the manga is just following the original run, which was only 2 volumes, or if they're going to pull in material from a subsequent sequel continuation series that the author put out, but it's really well made. I mean, it's really well made. It's deceptive because you look at the artwork and the lines are simple. It is a little bit muted, kind of a pastelish, but it's actually really well made animation-wise. The story is tight. Characters are three-dimensional. At first, they seemed kind of tropey, but you could tell that there's more thought into each character than just you see, and that's hinted at, I think, in episode 2, where the one girl, one of the seniors, the second-year student, is labeling people with, oh, I think you should be this because you look like this, and you would be better because, if you were only taller, but all this stuff, right? And I think, yeah, I really do like all the characters so far because they're very different. Sarasa is certainly a very different, you could label her as one of the Genki, energetic girls, but there's so much more in just the few scenes that you see with her friends, her grandfather, and kind of the hinted story, her backstory. So she is one of the, she is one of the main characters, one of the two main characters, and Narachi, the other former idol girl, she's the blue-haired girl, has a very different personality, and obviously has a lot of trauma behind whatever issue that she's dealing with. So I would recommend it to people who like drama, who like shoujo stuff. But beyond that, I think it's underrated in how it's been presented or how it's talked about. So I think you should give it a try.
Albert, have you read any of the manga?
No, I have not.
Okay. I want to now that I've seen the anime, so I was just curious how it compared.
No, all I know is that the original run was just enough to fill 2 volumes, 2 tankobons, and after that there was a subsequent series. I think it might still be going on, but yeah, I think so. There's like 10 volumes out of that. I don't know if that's following the main character still, or if they've passed the torch on to other characters, or what that's about. So I really don't know, but just current setup is interesting enough as you are. Sarasa wants to play Oscar from Rose of Versailles, which is a very, very popular shoujo manga, and the sheer impossibility of that is hinted at, yet she is willing to go for it because it is one of the a primary role, right? Oscar is the main character, but there are certain restrictions just on how the play has to be perceived by the audience. So Sarasa is 5'10", which is really tall for a Japanese girl, right? And to play that role, she would need someone who is just as tall as her in a supporting role. So therein lies the problems, right? And whether they'll overcome that, whether the troupe can even change that aspect, would be interesting to see how they deal with it. So I'm looking forward to it.
Okay. Looks like one of our viewers made a comment about the steampunk game Sakura Taisen or Sakura Wars, the parodies, the Takarazuka thing.
I haven't played any of the Soccer Wars games, so I can't speak to that aspect of it.
Have you seen the anime?
No.
Oh. I think there's like
No,
two different versions of it.
Takarazuka makes appearances in several anime. The one that springs to mind is Only Yesterday, one of the Studio Ghibli films. The protagonist has a little bit of a girl crush on one of the otokoyaku actresses in the Takarazuka review.
All right, let's go to the next title, which let's see what we have here. Next up is this trash. Kanojo Kanojo. I had a lot of people tell me that I should not watch this. This is not worth it. Don't even spend time on it. And I was like, that sounds like a challenge. So I watched the first episode yesterday, and I have to say I'm sorry for not believing in you guys. It's so terrible. Basically, this gentleman, who's I guess is a straightforward type of guy, is finally dating this childhood friend, and he's just really outrageous, and he's just over the top and just crazy with this girl. And I guess he spent years asking her out. Finally, she agreed, and all of a sudden, he gets confessed to by this other girl who's basically almost the exact copy of him, where she's over the top, she's doing crazy things as well, and she would spend wake up in the morning, spend so many hours training her body, getting herself fit and everything to be the perfect person for him, spend 8 hours a day cooking every time to get her cooking up to par, and and he's just so moved by it, but he's like, oh no, I'm already dating another girl, I'm sorry. But he's like, wait, I got an idea. Well, ask her if I can date both of you at the same time, and then that'll solve all the problems. It's so stupid.
Shoot me.
So he introduces the girl to his current girlfriend, but before he can say anything, the girl's like, oh my god, she's so cute, this girl, and hey, let's get to know each other better, and so they all go out, party, have fun, and everything, and then finally at the end of the whole night, he brings it on, there's like, she confessed her love to me and everything, and wants to be my girlfriend and everything. She's like, but we're already boyfriend and girlfriend. He's like, I know, that's why the only solution I can come up with is if I date both of you at the same time, and of course she's not going to have it. And it's so stupid, and I kind of almost want to watch it because how dumb it is, and I want to see how outrageous it gets. But then at the same time, it seems like I want to have a lot of these cringe moments where I'm like, oh, come on. It's hard to explain. I would say just watch that first episode for fun. Just pretend someone tricked you into it and see how crazy it is. Because it's one of those shows that you're like, how? No. So I think it would be a fun experience. Just maybe record yourself in a reaction video. I want to see your reaction to this first episode. I really would. But other than that trash, that's all I can see. Vinny, you should watch it. I know you're gonna like it. You're like me. Crazy.
Papa looks good though.
Next up, there's this other show called, what is it? Kick Slide? I have no idea what that is. So we'll pass that. No one's watching it. Oh, this show. Everyone's been waiting for this, right? Forever. Kobayashi-san. Chino Maid Dragon Ooze. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Albert's not watching. How come you're not watching it? Just you didn't like the series, or?
I loved the first season. I recommend it despite its troublesome aspects. Season 2, I've read the manga. I know the new characters. I really didn't care for her. I don't care for the story. I think it just got too muddled and we're rehashing, and so I'm opting to just pass it over despite OreAni's. This is the comeback of OreAni from their horrible arson incident. But I don't really have any interest in the story at this point. You guys can tell me, how it's going. I know that the Twitterverse and cancel culture is up in arms about this.
No,
But,
I did not.
What's the problem?
Really?
I don't
Well,
have Twitter, so.
Character designs, the Shota aspect, Shota cons, character design, huge plots of land, and so on and so forth. So, whatever. Those are all the things I didn't care about. So, and I don't care about the story that's probably going on, but I don't know if that's true or not. So, you guys can tell me how it's going.
It's just a show. I don't get why people get so upset over something like that. And it's not even like the whole Shota aspect is like a big thing. I'm in the third of this next season. You don't really see those two actually interacting at all.
At least not yet. And I will say that the Lukoa and the relationship she has with that little kid did bother me a lot in the first season. But all the other stuff was so great that I was willing to just sort of pretend it didn't happen. With this season, though, the introduction of the new character, Ilulu, her design is just, it's ridiculous. I'll be honest. I'm sorry. I know that they try and hand wave it away with an in-universe explanation that she can't change her hands and therefore she's not that great at morphing her body and whatever, but it's just, come on. We know why you're drawing her like that. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna like this season as much as I did the first one, unfortunately.
The animation though is still real beautiful.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And it's worth watching just for that alone. A lot of the stories are still just rehashes, or we've seen it before. It's just the same old comedy, just in a different way. And it's so if you like the first season, you're definitely going to be just getting a lot of that just in the second season. So I could see why maybe some people would want to skip it if they want something new, because it doesn't seem like anything really new has happened, just a new character. But I found it one thing that I just absolutely loved, because it brought one point home that I've been telling everyone. And I go on Twitch a lot and I watch a lot of artists, and I like to make the jokes that because hands are the hardest thing to draw. I'm like, just draw spoon hands. That's all you have to do. Draw spoon hands. It's the easiest thing. You just draw a circle, there's a hand. And when I saw that happen, Kobayashi,
oh my god.
Oh my god! Oh
I
my
did that,
god!
not gonna lie.
I love that joke.
So I'm like, I just went to all my friends, look, it's a legit thing. I told you guys. So, so that made my day for that series. And, but it's toned down a lot of other interactions with a lot of the other characters, I think. But it's still early in the series, so we'll see how it goes. But we were introduced to a new thing with like a new enemy or something. Like, I didn't know who he was, and I kind of almost want to go back and watch the first season again, because it showed a lot of characters that I'm like, I forgot who they are. Like Georgie, they reintroduced her, and I'm like, I think I remember her, but I don't know why. And some other characters that I know I've seen them, but I don't know why or how we got to meet them, so I might have to rewatch it.
Maid Dragon's storylines, the progression is pretty, I don't know, it's, to lack of better way to say, it's kind of all over the places at times. even at the season 1 when you started, it started from the when Toru meets Kobayashi. Then somewhere along the line, they kind of go right back to the very beginning of how they met in a part 2 kind of way. And they do that a lot of times. So if you don't read or watch the series in a quick succession, it tends to get a little troublesome as to not remember what's that supposed to be. Ooh. And is it working now? Maybe.
Keep talking. I don't know what
Yeah.
Tank is doing, but playing around
Okay.
with a 7, I think.
Yeah. And I don't really follow Twitter, so I don't know what this uproar is all about this series. But people who has a problem with it, they really need to understand where the original series is coming from, which is from Action Comics, which is squarely geared towards the adult audiences. That magazine has a lot of sexual tones. I mean, this is one of the lesser type in terms of sexuality. So people who kind of goes up in arms just because the series doesn't fit the image of what they perceive from what Kyoto Animation should be working on. Well, they can take a hike and go elsewhere. I don't see the problem with it. As far as I see it, they toned down a lot from the original source, and they really prettied up a lot of places. And some of the interactions are always got to be jarring between what's those two girls, Kanna and her classmate. That kind of torn down a lot. Shota and Lukuar, that was a little weird and has a lot of sexual undertone at season 1. But from as far as I can see from manga, it got a lot lesser, and their relationship actually progressed for the better. So I don't see that being a much of an issue in this season. As for the Irudo, yeah, it's very unbalanced characters. Got that, she's basically walking. I mean, I think they explained it by saying that her boobs are really a fire back that stores a fire, which is kind of okay, but I guess it just put it in one of those wacky things of that series and just move along. I didn't see.
All right, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Give me one quick second. I'm gonna try to restart.
Talk.